Mm-hmm.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, this is the greatest time of the day. From the center of the universe, New York City, it's the main event you've been waiting for. It's time to go in the cage with Cyclone.
And we're back after a nice long vacation. Although it wasn't really a vacation, I was working hard, working tirelessly. And now I'm back. I'm back on this 25th day of September, and it's fall, and it's 90 freaking degrees outside. How in the world is it 90 degrees at the end of September? Geez, I'm sweating my cajones off is a good word I could say on the air. They're sweating off, and so is my third chin. Anyways, we got lots to talk about, but I want to remind everybody to hit me up on Twitter at CYCX. No, wait, that's CYCIE19. Yes, CYCIE19. I should know my own Twitter account. Hit me up on Facebook. In the Cage with Cyclone. Click like. You could win a bunch of prizes. As a matter of fact, I'm raffling off one later today. Also, check out the Cyclone Variety Show on Facebook. Read everything I write on boneheadpicks.com. And of course, all the juicy info on Cyclone is at cyclonecomedy.com. So like I said, later on today we're going to recap a couple of cards. We're going to talk about some very juicy topics in the sports world. Going to extend the combat sports zone slightly. And a whole bunch of new bits I got. All that and so much more right after this.
This is Frank Edgar. This is the Barbarian Tim Boach. I'm the World Series of Fighting undefeated lightweight champion Justin Gaethje. MMA legend, UFC Hall of Famer with Iceman. Check it out. And if you got the guts, step in the cage with Cyclone.
All right, and kicking it all off, I'm going to start it at everyone's favorite, wink wink, LFA 23, which happened in the Bossier City Hotel and Casino in Louisiana. Big props to hardcore MMA Facebook groups, one and only Andrea KGB Lee, once again winning, extending her winning streak now to 4 in a row. And look, this girl is... There's only one way to describe it. Once the official flyweight division in the UFC takes off, I think Andrea will be one of those from the outside, from LFA, from Invicta. She's going to give up those titles of hers, and she's going to come into the UFC. I can't see Andrea not doing that. And let me tell you something. If Joanna Jędrzejczyk moves up, which she said she's going to do, and you have someone like Andrea Lee, and possibly even maybe, I don't know, like an Amanda Nunes go down in weight class, it's going to make for fireworks. I'm telling you, I am so excited about this new female flyweight division in the UFC. And I know I'm talking LFA, but it all ties together, folks. It's called a segue. It is going to be... The only way to describe it is, as great as the men's lightweight division is, the female flyweight division is going to be that much more exciting. New welterweight champion in the LFA, James Nakashima, has improved now to 9-0. winning his championship by a split decision over Derek Kranz. And the way I think in life is a split decision is like kissing your first cousin. Sure, you got a good feel out of it, but it leaves you kind of empty inside. And one of the things I'll be talking about a little bit later is, once again, the amount of concussions going on. But so far in 2017, there has been a plethora. Yes, I pulled that word out of the Encyclopedia Britannica for you old people. A plethora of massive, vicious head kick knockouts. And go back, go on YouTube this. Sabrina Mazzo's head kick over Lindsey Williams. Holy bejesus. As a matter of fact, I think after Lindsey got hit, she saw bejesus. And bejesus said, "Sweetheart, stay down, Rock. Stay down." I mean, I think that's the only thing that could have been said to her besides, "Sweetheart, I feel sorry for you." This head kick, John Jones, for all the crap he's gotten himself into, has a vicious head kick. Edson Barboza has one of the most vicious kicks in MMA. Sabrina Mazzo's kick at LFA 23 rates up there as one of the hardest I have ever seen in my life. And moving along to UFC Fight Night 117 in Japan. Here's the thing. When you have a card on the other side of the planet, and the UFC does this better than any other company, they load their fighters up from that country. You got to have them better booked. The bookings that happened at 117 weren't that great. However, if you're a fan of MMA, if you go back to the days of Pride, okay, you have somebody like, where was it? Like Takanori Gomi, okay? The guy's a legend, all right? But there comes a time in every athlete's life when he has to cut the umbilical cord. Umbilical cord. I think I put in a couple more bubbles. But you got to cut the cord. He's an icon in the sport. In his home country, which is, Dana and the powers that be saying, you know what? You've done so much for the sport. We'll put you on here, But the fact of the matter is, he was on a 4-fight losing streak coming into this fight. And Dong Hun Kim smoked him. Okay. It's time for the Fireball Kid, Mr. Gomi, to... And who am I, a big fat slob, to tell a fighter when it's time to call it a career? But the fact of the matter is, he's now on a 5-fight losing streak. The last time he won by he won by unanimous decision at UFC 172 back in April of 2014. It's a long time. And I think it's time that Dana maybe says, look, it's time. And if they cut him, it wouldn't shock me if a company like Bellator gobbles him up, or maybe Ryzen, and uses him as like some legend fighter. But for the UFC, for the high standard that the UFC wants to maintain, 5-fight losing streaks, you can't have those and stay in the top, you know. You really can't. And the complete polar opposite, kickboxing icon Gokhan Saki, holy smokes. First of all, when he was training to come into the world of MMA, he said that he wouldn't even need 5 minutes to take out Henrique Del Silva. And man, he wasn't kidding. He got rocked in the clinch, and then a left hook out of nowhere. You talk about like the wrestling version of an RKO out of nowhere. This was a left hook out of nowhere that bopped Henrique on his jaw and put him to sleep. Okay. And like I said with Sabrina Mazo earlier, Henrique suffered another concussion. And these guys are taking hits. And obviously there's never going to be headgear in MMA. But the guys are getting bigger, better, faster, and stronger. And they're hitting harder. And I don't know if there's actually a way to solve it. And look, let's be honest here, everyone. Human beings love blood sport. Okay? You could say you're holier than thou. You could say you love the art of the game. You know, you take someone like a Jake Shields and a John Fitch who met up at World Series of Fighting at the Garden on New Year's. Everyone was booing. Nobody enjoys the grappling style of MMA. The down on the mat, mixing it up. Yeah, true diehards enjoy it. But the far majority of fans want to see two guys in the center of the cage, the center of the octagon, the middle of the goddamn sidewalk, throw down. That's what they want. And those things lead to concussions and they lead to bad things. Okay. And another bad thing is weight cutting. And I don't know how many bazillion times I've said this over and over and over again, but the weight cutting has to stop. On that card, 117 in Japan, Mizoto Hirota misses weight by 4 pounds. You can't have a guy miss weight by 4 pounds. I think it's time that, and a lot of fighters have nutritionists as it is. I think it needs to be put in every fighter's contract. You got a nutritionist. It's on our dime, or there's some sort of split in payment, because obviously these guys ain't going to work for free. But it loses what would have been a good fight. And Charles Rosa has to go through a training camp. He has to go through his weight cut. He has to fly from Boston all the way to Japan for nothing. Okay? And there's always a question of, do these guys get full purses or not? And it's not right, but we got to stop the weight cutting. And I'm going to say this till I'm blue in the face and I look like Papa Smurf, or I look like I ate Papa Smurf. Weight cutting has to stop. If you're a fighter, you got to fight at your walk around weight or something within 5 pounds. That's it. No more of these 10, 15 pound weight cuts. Continuing along, OSP taking on Yushin Okami. Of course, he had to replace Shogun Hua. And look, my favorite hold, my favorite submission, and everybody knows it, is the Darce choke. OSP's move now is the Von Flue choke. For the third time ever, okay, this guy's pulled a Von Flue choke. And they were talking how they're going to rename the hold to a Von St. Peru, or possibly a Vince. And look, he was joking about it afterwards, you know. But the fact of the matter is, this guy, you can't put your hands on this guy's head on the ground. For as vanilla as OSP looks, and I'm not a fan of his, on the mat, this guy's turning into something pretty good. And I think he just needed longer to blossom. Some of us have that effect. I'm 45 and I still haven't blossomed yet. You know, I'm waiting for me. But I think he's starting to come into his own. And obviously the main event, nothing like seeing two Brazilians go at it in the middle of Japan. It's sort of like in the 80s in Brooklyn, we would say if two black people threw down, the only winner is the white guy. You put two red hot Brazilian fighters in Japan. Who wins? The Japanese. But Claudia Gadelha, man, she's a hard worker, but look, let's face facts here. Jessica Andrade is on fire, as AC/DC would say. She is, first of all, she's 25, and she is, as far as I'm concerned, a smaller version of Amanda Nunes. Okay? She is a pit bull that just keeps coming forward like a house of bricks, and it wouldn't shock me if she's the one that finally beats Joanna. I don't know. I kind of think so. And then we had Bellator 183 as the UFC and Bellator changed dates. You know, usually it's UFC on Saturday and Bellator on Friday. This week was one of those special weeks where the UFC was Friday and Bellator was Saturday. But by the way, don't tell the people at Dave & Buster's in Times Square that, because they refuse to believe on Saturday a Bellator card is on and they refuse to put it on the TV screens. Even though when you tell the manager, turn around, look, commercials for it say tonight, turn on the TVs, and the guy's telling me no. What in the blue? I wanted, you know, I say my favorite hold is the Darcy choke. I wanted to put this stunad. You know what a stunad is? A stunad is someone who don't know ungats. Okay? You know, I wanted to put that son of a bleep into a Darcy choke. But there was a whole bunch of excitement. And you kind of feel bad for Smooth Benson Henderson, who, by the way, him and his wife are expecting, and they did this Facebook Live stuff to possibly name the kid. And he wants first initial K, middle name A. So everyone's sending the stuff in through Facebook Live, which maybe one day I'll be on. I don't know. And Benson, sure enough, he picks my name out and he tells Michael C. Williams, he's like, hey, you know what? I actually like that name. So for like 5 minutes, I had a smile on my face. Then I looked in the mirror and I realized there was nothing to smile about. But you feel bad for him losing a split decision, and you know how I feel about those, to Patricky Pitbull. Here's the deal. He beats his brother. Then Patricky's like, now I'm taking... Sort of like an old Japanese movie. You kill my brother! You know. Benson beats his brother. So Patricky comes in and you know, challenges him. There was some back and forth stuff in it, but honestly, and if you look at Benson's face after the announcements being made that he lost, was a look of shock. And it's understandable. Because, honestly, I was kind of shocked as well. And then we had the debut of Big Country. Roy Nelson. One of my favorite fighters. Because he looks like me. Finally making his UFC debut. And let me tell you something. When you say, oh, he's a big fat guy, he doesn't know how to fight. Let me tell you something. Roy Nelson's ground game has improved exponentially. There's no other way to describe it. He takes Javi Ayala down time and time and time again throughout the fight. And he wails on him with some ground and pound. And I'll give Javi credit that he took it the distance. But damn, Roy Nelson looks like he's going to be walking around with Bellator gold pretty soon. Yep. And then we had, wow. What can I say about Paul Daly and Lorenz Larkin? I mean, first of all, at the weigh-ins, these two pulled their inner John Jones, Daniel Cormier throwing down on the stage. And then, if you watch the video really closely, the 800 security guards and the San Jose PD separates them. They pull them away. They send them to the back. And then all of a sudden, everyone leaves the stage running to the back because the two of them got their hands on each other again behind the curtain. So here's the deal. I see that. I'm like, okay, the second whoever's reffing the fight going, fighter, are you ready? Fighter, are you ready? Fight. It's going to be center of the cage. It's going to be Rock'em Sock'em fighting. And the two of them start out looking like Tyron Woodley and Stephen Wonderboy Thompson the second fight. They both turn into counter-strikers waiting to see who makes the first move. But obviously the pace picked up. Paul Daly with a vicious left hook that put Larkin to sleep. And I feel bad because I like the Monsoon. I really do. The Cyclone likes the Monsoon. Because all of us forces of nature stick together. And honestly, I'm not really that big of a fan of Paul Daly. He then afterwards called out Michael Venom Page once again. And that's a fight I'd like to see. I can't wait to see MVP get his hands on Paul Daly. Aaron Pico, of course, winning his second fight after getting dropped by Aaron Freeman at the Garden. And him moving down in weight class. And I always say, don't move down in weight class. Stay at your weight class or move up in weight class. It was smarter for him to move down in weight class because that's where he was as a wrestler. He holds 145 better than 155. And he threw it was like a weekend of vicious left hooks. And he put Justin Lin to sleep before Lin hit the mat, he was out. So that's my recaps. I want to go into a topic that's not necessarily combat sport related, although there's a lot of combat in the particular sport. I got to bring up this NFL issue with the kneeling and the sitting and the protesting the anthem and protesting this and protesting that. Look, here in the United States, you have every single right to protest. I don't take that away from you. You want to protest? Go right ahead. You want to march? You want to sit on your butt? You want to sit on your kneel on a knee? You want to stand on your head? I don't care. I don't care what in the world you do, how you protest. It's your God-given right. God bless you. Do it. But here's where I draw the line. Here's my issue. Football players don't own the stadiums. They don't own the jerseys. They don't own the airwaves that they are being put on. Therefore, you cannot do it then. You want to protest, protest on your own time. You want to march, march on your own time. Don't do it on NFL time. And here's the thing. Yeah, Trump said some out there stuff, but if you're shocked that Donald Trump is saying out there stuff, what rock did you just come out of? This has been Donald since day one, 30, 40 years ago. Okay? So anyone who's shocked is a schmuck. There's no other way to describe it. If you're shocked that Donald speaks from the hip, speaks like your buddy on the street corner, you're a schmuck. Okay? But yeah, I don't think on the field of play you have a right to sit during the national anthem. Let me just give you an example. In Canada, there have been times where microphones have gone out during the national anthem singing. You know what happens? The Canadian fans who are standing for the American national anthem sing by themselves our anthem. Let me ask you guys a question. Do you think you could protest in North Korea? Do you think you could protest in Afghanistan, Yemen, Libya? No, you can't. So those that say, oh, if we can't protest, you're taking away rights. No, there's no rights being taken away. You just have to know when, where, and how to do it. Okay? That's all I'm going to say on that. The rest of it, you could read it online because I certainly say enough there. Okay. And like I brought up before with these amount of KOs that have increased suddenly. Floyd Mayweather just came out and he said that he didn't want to throw any hard shots at Conor McGregor because he didn't want to give Conor brain damage. It's true, Judge. He actually said that. And you know what? Floyd, if you're listening or if one of your money team is listening, please send this tape to Mr. Mayweather. Buddy, you couldn't give a dead rat brain damage with your punches. Your punches are limper than my wee-wee. Okay, buddy boy? You've never been a hard hitter. You might hit hard and knock out a woman or a child once in a while. But you ain't giving Conor McGregor brain damage. Yeah, you know what? It's all sweet. Oh, isn't that nice? He doesn't want to give him brain damage. He doesn't want to give him CTE. Nah, listen. There's no worries, okay, that Conor's getting brain damage anytime soon. At least not from you. Okay. Maybe Nate punched him a little bit too hard in the head. And that leads to fighters knowing when to retire. And like I said about Takanori Gomi, still hanging on. You have someone on the complete opposite end, like an immortal Matt Brown, who's announcing that his next fight coming up in a couple weeks is his last. He knows when to call it. And that's what has to happen. You have to know when to call a career. Okay? And that's what Matt Brown does. Unlike Takanori Gomi. So the concussion thing, and I've spoken to a couple of refs, I've spoken to a couple of fighters. I talked to Stitch Duran about it on the last episode of the show. There isn't that much concussion syndrome in MMA because you're not just getting hit in the head, you're taking a full body is taking shots. Here's the thing though. It's a dangerous game to play. It's dangerous in football, it's dangerous in boxing, it's dangerous in MMA. And I'm of the opinion that sooner rather than later, once fighters start dying at odd ages and they let their brains be cut open, it's going to be found that fighters have, stages of CTE. And it's a test that can only be done after you die. So I think that not that something can be done about knockouts, because those are just glorious. But, I got to mix some wrestling into this too. If I'm mixing football in, I got to mix wrestling in. But yeah, everybody loves them. It's part of the game. It's just you got to be fearful for these guys. And same thing with the weight cutting. Mizoto Hirota, you like I said before, you can't have somebody come in 4 pounds overweight. I don't even want somebody coming in half a pound overweight. And that's coming from me, and I'm overweight, period. But then again, I'm not in the cage fighting. Weight cutting, it really it is an archaic, okay? It is so archaic. I like things old ways. I have a flip phone. I have a laptop. I have a regular camera. I like old stuff. Weight cutting is something I don't like. And it needs to stop. And it needs to stop fast, because I'll tell you what, really soon, and if you watch the video of Hirota stepping onto the scale at the weigh-ins in the morning, he didn't look too good. And then you go back to Conor McGregor when he was at 145. The guy looked like he was going to keel over because he looked anorexic. He looked like a human lollipop, for goodness sakes. Yeah, so we got to stop with the weight cutting. KO's okay, weight cutting no okay. Which brings me to a very, very interesting topic. Everyone hates the UFC Reebok deal. And here's the thing. The UFC was looking for a company. Reebok came in. If you're one of those people who refuse to like Reebok, and I've been a Reebok sneaker wearer since 1990 because they are the official sponsor of LIU baseball, and I've worn them ever since, and I can't stand Michael Jordan, and I'll never wear a Nike item, but that's a whole other story. Reebok came in with the most amount of money. That's why the UFC signed that deal. They thought they were doing good business. Yes. Did it backfire on them? Absolutely. Did they know it was? No. No one goes into a deal and says, "Hey, I want to get screwed." No. No one makes a deal like that. Want to make a good deal. They thought they were doing it, and it wound up blowing up. But Reebok has this thing where they are the official sponsor of the UFC. Fighters can't wear anything going into the cage, performing any UFC duty at all, wearing another company other than Reebok. They can't do it. And that includes headgear. Okay? Which leads to a very interesting situation because the first ever Sikh, first ever Indian fighter in the UFC, Arjit Singh Buller, just fought, and he wanted to wear his head garb. Okay? And the UFC and Reebok put a stop to it and didn't allow him to wear it. And there was a little bit of an outcry afterwards. You know, Ariel Helwani was on it, pushed for everyone knowing about it. And the fact of the matter is, there was a change in the UFC's and Reebok's thinking, because when Jessica Andrade just fought Claudia Gadelha, she came out wearing like an Indian headdress. And I can assure you, on those Indian feathers was no Reebok logo. Okay, so someone got to Reebok, someone got to the UFC and told them how messed up those rules are that they have, you know? And they changed, which is a good thing. Like Rocky said in after he beat Drago, if I can change, you can change, we can all change. Some change is good. Some change isn't good, but some change is good. And the fact that maybe now Reebok understands that might give fighters the opportunity to wear more personal stuff. And look, their new fight kits, they've designed. Now, I know a lot of people don't like the new gear as well, but the fact of the matter is, the fighters designed those. Those weren't Reebok designs. Fighters had say in their own designs now, and in their own colors. But I just want to remind everybody to keep listening to BWRN. You got the Sportsbook Box Office Podcast. You got Broadway Comedy Club Radio. You got a whole bunch of shows. And coming soon, a whole bunch more new shows are coming aboard. Yes, we are growing like my tummy. Although, I got to work on my tummy shrinking, and my tummy needs to shrink, and BWRN needs to grow. So keep listening. Get your friends to listen. Get your enemies, your neighbors, your family, your mailman, your milkman. Get people you don't know. Smack somebody on the sidewalk and say, hey, a-hole, listen to BWRN on Spreaker. Do that. And then tell them Cyclone told you to do it. Another reminder, you can follow me on Twitter. It's CYCIE19. Yay for me getting my own Twitter name right. Hit me up on Facebook. In the Cage with Cyclone. Click like. Win a free raffle. I actually just raffled off a signed 11x14 of the aforementioned Immortal Matt Brown. Okay. Plenty of good prizes still in my stockpile. Check out CycloneComedy.com. I got some really cool gifts there too. Plus all my info is there. Well, not all my info. Like, I don't have my number there. You know, I don't have my, like, bra size or something. Just a lot of good info on me is there. And then, if you like reading about MMA, head over to boneheadpicks.com and read an article. Trust me, I just wrote this great article on, is this a new age in MMA of Brazilians? Because there's so many great Brazilians coming into the sport. Now, coming up soon, we're going to talk about the upcoming schedule. And we got a whole bunch of new bits coming up right after this.
Hi, I'm Jim Miller. This is Dan Marugliata, and I'm here in Wrestling. I'm Nick the Carney Lance, and you're locked into the cage with Cyclone.
All right. Let's talk upcoming schedule. Let's look at the calendar. It's kind of thin this coming week. I got to admit, I wish I was that thin. But in Dackersville, Oklahoma, on October 6th is Bellator 184. You got the bantamweight title on the line. Eduardo Dantas is putting it up against Darian Caldwell. Finally, the bantamweight title will be on the line. The featherweight strap between Emmanuel Sanchez and Daniel Strauss. And that's going to be a serious throwdown. Okay, both those guys are they're vicious standing and they're vicious on the mat. And then you got two undefeated fighters in Steve Cazzola and Carrington Banks. So, like Conor McGregor said, someone's O has got to go. And then the next day, October 7th, yes, because after October 6th comes October 7th, King of the Cage. And you know what? I love King of the Cage. It's one of my favorite small indie groups. You know, fighters there are like fighters on the East Coast in CFFC. They're always thrown down. They're always pushing hard, you know. But that's coming from the Canary Casino in California. As well, on October 7th, there's something called, UFC 216. Ferguson Lee for the interim lightweight championship. I'm not going to get into any predictions now because you'll see that on Facebook as part of a raffle for a very nice prize. But that's going to be a sick fight. Both guys don't like each other. Tony Ferguson, El Kakui's cardio is off the hook. Kevin Lee talks a great game. And let's face it, Kevin Lee can throw down if he has to. Plus on that card, does mighty, minus the mouse, just the mighty Demetrius Johnson make history by beating Ray Borg? That's on 216. You have Fabricio Verdum against Derek Lewis. You have a women's flyweight match. And this is what I'm talking about when I say I'm so excited for the flyweights. Paige Van Zandt against Evil Eye, Jessica Evil Eye. Let's get her name right. That's a great matchup. And it's great that it's at 125 because that is so close to both their walking around weights. They don't got to cut that much. And it's going to, I really, really am looking forward to that fight. And I'm also looking forward to the heavyweight match of Walt Harris and Mark Godbear. I don't know. Something's telling me that fight, they're not top tier. They're not middle tier. They're lower tier heavyweights. But I think that big ticket Walt Harris is ready to throw down. And Mark Godbear's a beast. I'm really looking forward to it. And then, October 8th, Pancrase 290 coming from Tokyo, Japan. And Pancrase is one of those other smaller groups that you just got to like. The Japanese fighters are some of the hardest fighters in the world. They are. Hands down. Now, let me, and now I want to just start our segments because I'm going to group all the segments together to keep you guys listening. I'm saving that Facebook question for last. That's what we do in the business. We make you wait for the juicy part, the part that you want most. Who's going to win a prize? I'm going to do that last. Although now that I let the cat out of the bag, probably most of you are now going to not listen for the whole show. And then at the end of the show, going to tune in. No. Because I might decide one day to do the segments first. I might throw you off guard. I might just do that. Because I'm sneaky like that. So, as we all know, we can look at the calendar. We see the day is September 25th. So, on this day in MMA history, happy anniversary, happy anniversary, happy anniversary, happy anniversary. In 2005, Pride Bushido 9 went down. In 2010, UFC 119 happened. And everybody remembers that because that's when Frank Mir and Mirko Krokop beat the snot out of each other. Yes, I actually think, much like in Floyd Connor, snot flew out of the nose in that Krokop Mir fight. And then, last year, 2016, in Ryzen, they made history. History happened a year ago today. You had the first time ever a mother and son fought on the same card. 41-year-old Mayu Yamamoto fought on the Ryzen card. And then later on in the card, her 19-year-old son, Aspen Yamamoto, fought. So, I don't think that something like that will ever happen again. That's so odd. A father, son, you can maybe kind of see. Mother and son? I don't know. First of all, you have to be a mom and have a son. It's not like mother-daughter. It's mother-son. And you have to be a mom, have a son, and that son has to be a fighter. And you have to hold on long enough in your career or have your kid early enough in your career where your kid grows up and wants to fight. So that was pretty cool. That's like a fun factor I gave you all because I'm so nice. I want you to know some fun facts. And I got 3 more fun facts for you. Also on this day in MMA history is the birth of Rashad Evans. Sugar Rashad turns 37 today. Phil Davis turns 32 today. And I talked about her earlier today. Jessica Andrade turns 25. Hell, I don't even remember 25. That was so long ago for me. My goodness. Let's say we do a dream fight because I want to do dream fight next because I'm always going to mix these things up. So let's go into our goodie bag of numbers. Yes, I still have my goodie bag of numbers and pull 2 numbers out. The winning lottery is, let's see, because I'm wearing glasses, because I'm turning old. Wait, that's stuck. It's stuck like a Band-Aid on me. Numbers 217 and number 13. 217 and 13. Ha ha ha. Oh boy, this is gonna end fast, folks. Ladies and gentlemen, in the red corner, heavyweight, Matt Meathead Mitrione. And he's taking on, in the blue corner, number 13, a man who should retire. Talk about guys that should retire. The prodigy, BJ Penn. Wow. Okay, first of all, you got what I need. You got a monster in Mitrione against someone like BJ Penn. That's sort of like a Gracie taking on a sumo wrestler. If BJ can't crab up on Mitrione, man, BJ is going to catch a beat down. There's no other way to say it, because I don't think BJ would be able to get up on top of him. I really don't. So that's going to end fast. That fight ends fast. I say inside one round. Possibly inside of 2 minutes. By knockout. Probably a left hook, since left hook seems to be the thing of the day. Now, here's one of the new little bits that I told you about. We have the dream fight that we just did. Now, I am going to build a dream fighter. What does that mean, you ask? I am going to take every little tiny piece of the human body, take the best that I believe of current fighters. I'm not doing the best of ever, because that would just be too damn crazy. And I'm moshing it together to create some Frankenstein-esque fighter. And I'm going to start with a fighter's vision. Because if a fighter can't see, fighter can't fight. Okay? Trust me, I'm going blind. I know it. You need to see. So, that being said, my fighter's vision is Gegard Mousasi. I want Mousasi's eyes in my fighter's body. Why? Because the guy has great vision. Plain and simple. Now, you're going to say, well, what about, okay, what's next? I'm only doing one part per show. And then I'm going to do it like, Bingo or O McDonald or the 7 days of Christmas. No, wait, it's 12 days. 12 or 7?
12.
See, I'm a yid. I don't know Christmas. Although I should, That's, I know. That is so wrong of me. It's like the reverse of racist and anti-Semitic. I'm anti-Catholic. I get it. I killed Jesus. It's all my fault. But every show, I'm going to add a piece to the fighter. And like I said, the fighter's vision is Gegard Mousasi's. Who's next? I don't know. You're going to have to just tune in to the next show. That in the business, ladies and gentlemen, is what we call a tease. Now, we come to everybody's favorite part of the show. What you've all been waiting for. The Facebook raffle. So, George, Mr. Diaz, there were 10 questions sent in. So, I give you the honor, so this way I don't take the blame.
Okay.
Pick a number between 1 and 10.
8.
All right. The winner Susan Walker. So don't tell me you don't win nothing, because you just won again. Now, I'm not looking at the Facebook page, but I wrote down my notes because I do my homework. It was if Gokhan Saki gets better at ground and pound and trains more MMA and less of the kickboxing that he doesn't need in MMA, how dangerous can he be at light heavyweight or even against a heavyweight like Alistair Overeem? Okay. First of all, Gokhan Saki is one of those crossover athletes that is dangerous no matter what he does. He can go bowling and he'd be dangerous. He could shoot pool and he'd be dangerous. Okay, you get the idea? That's how this guy is. He's an icon in kickboxing. And look, I grew up, the art form I learned when I was a kid was Muay Thai. So kickboxing is something special to me. It's a big part of MMA. He doesn't need to drop or not train as much kickboxing. Does he need some striking work? Does he need some, jiu-jitsu? Does he need some grappling techniques? Yes, of course. How dangerous would he be in the lightweight division? Very. He could be one of those 3, 4, possibly 5 or 6 fights away from a title. Definitely within 6. Within 6, this guy is getting a title shot. What number that is, I don't know. I'm not Dana. I'm not Sean Shelby. If he moved up to heavyweight, I don't know if his body can hold that much weight. He would be a small heavyweight. And I don't know. I think he could beat someone like a Francis Ngannou. I think he could beat, I don't know who else in the heavyweights he could beat. I don't think he could beat Verdum. I don't think he could beat, and this is saying even if he was a heavyweight, I don't think he could beat Stipe. I don't know. Wait, maybe he could. He's so well-rounded, he might be able to beat Stipe. I'd say he could beat Kane, but let's face it, Kane is always injured, so that doesn't count. But yeah, he's a seriously dangerous cat. So Susan, I will be in touch with you. Not physically, because I know you don't like that. But I will be in touch with you online. And I will be sending out your prize. I think I could get to the post office tomorrow. So, that moves us to the spotlight. And I want to spotlight a fighter that none of you guys have heard about. Head over to Fight Nights Global, okay? And yes, I know it's the other side of the planet. No one follows Russian fighters. Let me tell you something. There is a 25-year-old, 6 foot 3 inch tall heavyweight. And you talk about, and it's a good segue here, Gokhan Saki possibly moving to heavyweight. This fighter, Sergey Pavlovich, is Fight Night's global heavyweight champion. He's 8-0. All 8 wins. Well, he's 11-0. 8 of his wins are by knockout. All 8 of those knockouts are first round. And he happens to have 3 unanimous decisions too. But the fact of the matter is, this guy is a big, heavy version of Ivan Drago. This guy, I would love to see Dana give him a shot. I would love to see Scott Coker give him a shot. I want this guy in the States. And I know, it's really effed up. It's really egotistical to want to take every country's starfighters. But the fact of the matter is, I want the best of the best here. I want the best from the Japanese baseball here. I want the best fighters here. To hell with the other companies, honestly. I'm speaking like an egotistical, stuck-up New Yorker American. And I fully admit it. I want the best here. And this guy, he would punch holes in people's faces. They would literally have like craters popped into their faces if this guy gets his hands on him. Remember the name Sergey Pavlovich. You heard it from me first. So when he comes over here, don't say, oh, you didn't say nothing about this guy. You didn't say nothing. You could play this back and you now know I said about him. As we start to wrap, remember, folks, CYCIE19 on Twitter. You can read all my little witty comments, and trust me, I have plenty of those. CycloneComedy.com. All about me. In the Cage with Cyclone. On Facebook. Click like. You can be like Susan Walker and win a prize too. And as always, boneheadpicks.com for all my MMA articles. And as I say in closing, I will be back on October 9th. Until then, everyone, remember, just because you're not an athlete doesn't mean you cannot be an athletic supporter. Bye-bye.